Welcome back to the NFL Draft Bible Player Spotlight Show. I am your host, Chris Shanafel, and it's a pleasure to welcome back onto the show. He joined us a couple months back when the whole draft process was starting to kick off. He was actually my second 2018 draft prospect interview this year, done through Blog Talk Radio, so go back and check that out. Again, it's a pleasure to welcome back on 2018 NFL Draft Prospect, the wide receiver out of Limestone College, Division II program in South Carolina. He's Vyncint Smith. And Vyncint, your name's a lot popular now than the last time we last chatted. How's everything going?
It's been going great. I've been enjoying the process, keeping my head down, taking all the information in that I can, but I've been loving it. I mean, it's been treating me well, and you just got to trust the process.
No doubt about it. You got to trust the process, and that's exactly what you're doing. Obviously, you're in great hands with your agent, Adam Seifer, and he's really helped you, I got to think, get ready for that big pro day. It was at the University of South Carolina, and basically, I just want to start off by asking you, what were your expectations heading in? Again, coming from a Division II program such as Limestone College, and getting an opportunity to practice and work out at the University of South Carolina in front of all 32 NFL teams, I got to think that was maybe not so much nerve-wracking, but I got to think there's a lot on your table heading into that day. So again, what were your expectations heading into Pro Day, and now a few days removed, how do you feel you performed?
Definitely, all my numbers, I really expected to put them up. Doing training at Velocity in Charlotte with Jed, it was great. You know, we did so many repetitions. I know what felt good and what felt bad, and I just had to listen to him. I mean, he taught me, all the small stuff that would help my numbers get lower. So I definitely expected all my numbers to be where they were, the vert, broad, 40 time, the L drill, and the 5x5. I expected that. Going in, I was, weeks before seeing other pro days, I watch them like, okay, I'm ready, I'm ready. And then it came to the last 2 days, and I came back home, and I was ready, but I was just, having a little nerves, ready to get on basically a big stage for me. It was exciting. Finally, the morning finally came, and I performed very well. And I still had jitters all the way up to running my 40, but after that, I felt good, and right now I feel accomplished for my day. I mean, it's opened more teams' eyes up to looking at me and seeing what I can do, and seeing that my numbers can back up my film.
And for those who aren't familiar with the numbers that you put up, Vyncint, at your pro day, I got them right here on the screen now. 39.5-inch vertical, 10-10 broad jump, 4.36 40-yard dash, 6.85 three-cone. Very impressive to say the least. Now, there is a picture floating around out there, Vyncint, of you chatting with just some regular guys, and Bill Belichick, head coach of the New England Patriots, and head coach of the University of South Carolina Gamecocks, Will Muschamp. What was that conversation like? It was following your pro day at the University of South Carolina. What was that conversation like? And, again, I've said it already a couple times here, but it's not every year we hear about somebody coming from Limestone College, even making it this far, that you've made it. Were there any nerves? Was there any nerves when you were walking up and you see that here I am about to run my 40, and just across the field there's Bill Belichick, and this coach and this coach, this team and this team is over here checking me out?
Yeah, because a lot of scouts came in, and some scouts told me they had come there just to see me, so you don't point. But like I said, if I did what I did in my training, then I should be fine. So yeah, it was a little bit of nerves, but initially I didn't see Coach Belichick, so I I didn't see him initially, and that conversation was really short, honestly. But I went up to thank Coach Muschamp for allowing me to have my pro day there to showcase and just taking me in as one of theirs. And Coach Belichick was right there, and he decided to introduce himself to me, say his name, and shook hands. And I'm like, you don't have to introduce yourself to me. I know who you are. I'm Vyncint Smith, so nice to meet you. But it was a nice little conversation.
I gotta think that only makes the dream feel like it's even closer to your reach, Vyncint. And I know it's been rumored out there that Will Muschamp, something he said to you was that he wishes, or maybe he didn't say it to you, but following the pro day, he said he wishes that he was a guy, that you were a guy that he would have recruited a few years back. Hearing that, I mean, what kind of goes through your mind? I mean, obviously that's a lot of respect from a big time Division I football coach. And second question, how did some of these bigger time programs miss out on an elite athlete like yourself, a playmaker like yourself, specifically in the South Carolina, even you could go North Carolina area, Clemson, University of North Carolina, University of South Carolina State at the FCS level. How did they miss out on this elite athlete, playmaking ability, wide receiver coming out of high school?
Well, I'll start with that question first. I think it's just a couple of things. I went to a new high school in the area, so recruiting wasn't big on us anyways. My junior year, we had 1-2 games. In my senior year, we didn't make it to the second round of the playoffs, but still, for my junior year, we didn't have big recruiting from big schools. I mean, we had schools like UNC Charlotte, South Carolina, App State, Richmond, Virginia, Charleston Southern. Look at us, but nobody ever offered. I mean, just from us not being that well or not winning that many games our junior year. And it's just a learning process for me and my family and just other kids at our school learn, what camps you should go to out of high school to get your name out there more often. And I say it was a couple of things, but I don't want to blame it on nobody. And personally for me, I just feel like I've also grown since high school too. Speed, size, weight, playmaking ability, but it's all been there since high school, but it's just grown infinitely. And hearing Coach Muschamp, like I said, it makes me feel accomplished in a way because I feel like I've worked hard enough to be considered the same as a D1 program receiver, and for him to say that he wish I was a Gamecock, it meant a lot to me.
Of course, Vincent, you are fresh off of a workout with the Dallas Cowboys. If I'm not mistaken, it was just yesterday. The director of advanced college scouting, Judd Garrett, the brother of head coach Jason Garrett, actually traveled and worked you out at your college, Limestone College, there in Gaffney, South Carolina. Take us into that. What was that like? And again, how do you feel you performed in that workout with the Cowboys?
It was as much of a learning experience as it was a showcase. He sent me a packet. I had to learn a couple plays, a couple formations. We went over that in office. We critiqued a little bit of my plays in one of my better games. He wanted to see how well I knew stuff, at least on paper, about football, and I felt like I did very well at that. We got out on the field. We did a couple of drills before we just started running routes and catching balls. At first, a little bit nervous, a mess up here and there, and after, he said just relax and have a good time and just play football. After that, I think I did very well. I think I impressed him with my speed, getting in and out of cuts. He also had tips for me on how to not slip on certain routes, how to attack certain balls this way, how to sell my routes, how to keep a defender from breaking early. So, like I said, it was as much of a learning experience as it was a showcase.
And to add with the Cowboys, you've already met privately with the San Francisco 49ers as well. Vikings, Falcons also showing interest, as well as the New York Jets. You might have a meeting with them in April. Has it hit you yet, Vincent? I mean, here you are, maybe, 10 days ago. A lot of people probably haven't even really heard about you. Now they're looking up your highlights. They're looking up any game film that's available after this crazy pro day workout. And now you're becoming maybe not necessarily a household name, but you're certainly a name that a lot of people expect to go at least day 3 in the NFL draft. You search Vyncint Smith on NFL.com and your name pops up. Your scouting report is there. Has it hit you yet that in just a couple of months, or not even a couple of months, actually 1 month from today, if I'm not mistaken, is when the 2018 NFL draft kicks off? Has it hit you yet that your dream is about to become a reality?
It's hit me a little bit. I don't think it'll hit me until I find out where I go for my rookie camp. But it's very surreal. Like, it's a process that's been a year long. For like real NFL dreams, it's been a year long process, and like I said, I've enjoyed it. It's been surreal. It's still becoming real, but I think it'll all hit me when the day I find out where I go into camp. It's just in the past month, I've grown, and even scouts who talked to me before this past month, they've kept an eye on me, like, we like you, you're a sleeper, and we like you for certain reasons. And now that I'm out, they're like, well, your name's out there, but we still like you, and they're still gonna try to fight for me. And it's just unbelievable, really.
I could only imagine, and this hype hasn't just come from this pro day. I should throw that out there. I mean, 28 teams throughout your senior season, 28 NFL teams did make their way through Limestone College and check you out, check a couple of your teammates out as well that are on the radar. So it's not like you just all of a sudden have blown up, but this big time pro day at the University of South Carolina has certainly helped you to say the very least. And I do want to talk a little bit about your game as well. I don't want to just focus on the track star, I guess you could say, Vyncint Smith. I mean, here you are over the last few months training to put up the best 40, the best vertical, all this, and that is great. But I do want to dive into your game in just a second. But a lot of my followers, they are fans of the Chicago Bears, Vyncint, and I'm from I'm broadcasting out of Chicago myself, and I got to ask you, the Bears' new wide receiver coach was your head coach at Limestone College, Mike Furry, of course, a former NFL wide receiver himself. If you could just talk about what it was like being coached by him over the years and how, as a wide receiver, he's helped your game, and what kind of coach the Chicago Bears now have coaching their wide receivers.
It's helped tremendously. I mean, first year he came in, he put a whole staff around us with NFL experience. So for my junior year, we've been hearing, what it's like to be in the NFL, what we should expect going into rookie camps, and what it takes to make it onto a roster and have a good career. I mean, like I said, plenty of the guys had great careers in the NFL, and they came to coach us, and they instilled in us a lot of stuff that we need at a D2 college. And that was, I mean, that was more help than they probably will ever know. But definitely Coach Furry as a receiver, he gets on us all the time. I mean, he'll tell you did a good job, but at the same time, he's going to tell you what you did wrong. He definitely critiqued us every day. We ran routes all the time, and my routes still aren't nowhere near perfect, but they're so much more further ahead than where they were 2 years ago.
No doubt about it. Again, he's Vyncint Smith, the 2018 NFL draft prospect, wide receiver out of Limestone College. And again, a name that is really heating up with 1 month to go until the start of the 2018 NFL draft. Look for his name to be called at some point. I got to think at day 3 at the latest. If you do fall to the undrafted route, you're certainly going to have a handful of teams looking to sign you, Vyncint. One more thing with Mike Furry. What would it be like to be coached by him at the college level and then have him be your coach at the professional level? I mean, would there be, again, I'm sure you would sign up for all 32 NFL teams. You'd be more than happy to play for them. But would there be a better landing spot, at least with the familiarity that you have with Mike Furry, than the Chicago Bears?
I say the familiarity with him is good because he knows what to expect out of me and where I need to grow at. So I'm in a camp, and he should see the progress that I've made since leaving playing in November with him. But that'll definitely help, and he knows how to push me, and he knows how I respond best. So, and he can also tell the coaches how well I play in other positions. So that definitely helps. And I know at the end of the day, he's not gonna let me just be a person that I'm just taking a ride. He's gonna push me to do my part every day.
Absolutely. Now, over the next couple of minutes, Vince, I'm going to be playing your highlight film here. I got it pulled up here. And I kind of want to talk a little bit about your game. Again, maybe a lot of people aren't or haven't seen much of your film, so here we are playing your highlights. What would it, or for those that may not be too familiar with you, though, Vyncint, I mean, first things first, I mean, biggest strength that you bring to the wide receiver position, and maybe not necessarily a weakness, but one thing that you'd like to aim to get better at?
Is making a play downfield. Definitely, I like to go vertically and stretch the field, make the DBs nervous about not playing over top of me and maybe having to get out of their back pedal earlier just to keep up with me. I think that's definitely one of my biggest strengths. And one thing I just want to work on better is just getting in and out of my breaks quicker and smoother and more consistent every time.
Okay, and would you be the first player from Limestone College to make it to the NFL? Has there been anybody that has taken the same track as you to the NFL from Limestone?
No, sir. I'd actually be the first. We're a pretty young program. We're in the last year was our fourth playing year, so I came in my freshman year, which was our first playing year, and I'll be the first so far. Yes,
That's
sir.
right. That's right. That's awesome. Well, I got to ask you then. A lot of people are going to say, not necessarily just because it's a new program, but it is in the Division two ranks. It's not in a very well known Division two conference. How do you feel about the small school label that's going to be attached to your name when you enter the NFL?
It's definitely a chip on my shoulder. I mean, it is what it is, but at the same time, I'm gonna let it push me to be better than players that may come from the SEC or ACC. I'm like I said, I'm gonna let it push me and make me work harder to get where I need to be.
I'm looking at uh, I'm looking at a scouting report, excuse me, from Lance Zierlein from NFL.com, and he lists your strengths, your weaknesses, your draft projection, and what coaches or scouts are telling him. Anyways, he thinks you're worthy of going anywhere between the fifth or sixth round. Your NFL comparison is LaRon Robinson, former Illinois State wide receiver, right here in my backyard. Definitely familiar with him, and was quite the receiver for the Atlanta Falcons. Even had a few short stints with the Jaguars and St. Louis Rams, I believe it was. But I want to point out the weaknesses of Vyncint. He says ball skills are below average, not a natural hand catcher, and allows throws to crowd his frame. I mean, when reading that type of stuff, what type of motivation does that give you? Is that something that you kind of look at and maybe not necessarily try to prove people wrong, but you kind of look at and maybe pay more attention to it?
Yeah, definitely. That I read that today for the first time too. I was like, okay, it's nice to see what he thinks and see what he thinks I should work. All the criticism as constructive. So I know going in my next couple of workouts or running routes what I need to work on and what I need to improve on. Whether like I've talked to scouts, don't like me to catch the ball right here, but want me to catch more out here. Definitely agree. If he thinks my ball skills are more below average, then I just gotta make bigger and crazier plays. Definitely at the same time, it's like well, okay, this is good to know what you think, but it's like I definitely gotta change your mindset.
Yeah, I know Baker Mayfield. I think it was just yesterday. He said that he has a bunch of Twitter users or draft analysts, and anything that they've tweeted out negatively about Baker Mayfield, he's saving it, and he's I don't know what he's doing with it. Maybe he's using it as motivation or whatever. But that I thought that was pretty funny from earlier today about Baker Mayfield. A couple more questions for you, Vincent. Then I'll let you go. Really do appreciate your time again. He's Vyncint Smith, 2018 NFL Draft prospect, wide receiver out of Limestone College. What was your official height and weight at the pro day? Was it 6'1" or 6'2", 197?
At the pro day, I weighed in 197 and I was 6'2", and then at the regional combine, they had me at 6'1.7 and I weighed in at 201.
That's right. You know what? I forgot about the regional combine. Now, that was something the NFL was talking about getting rid of entirely. It was brought back on late notice, and a lot of people still don't even know that it did indeed take place. And after that pro day at South Carolina, Vincent, you were invited to the NFL regional combine. It was an invite only event. Can you take us through that? Did you participate in all the drills there? And did you have any conversations following that event?
Yeah, I got the invite and it was a little bit before my pro day, and at first my agents were like, the old format for the regional combine is anybody can sign up and, you go showcase your skills, and at first my agents were well, Adam was like, nah, I don't know about it because nobody had known about it. It was late notice, and then you find out it's invitation only, and it was all the people who didn't make it into Indianapolis. So we decided it was best for me to go there and get to know more scouts there. But I didn't do any running or drills or jumping there. I just did all receiver drills.
How maybe not happy, but how much of a breath of fresh air is it to know that all that stuff is now behind you? Not only is it behind you, but you probably had, if not the best, certainly one of the better pro days out of all the prospects in the 2018 NFL draft. How how refreshing is it to know that all that's behind you and now you can just focus on football?
It's definitely refreshing because, like you said, I can just focus on football now. I don't have to ever run another 40 or another L drill or another 5-10-5 or do another vert because my numbers are official and they are what they are. But it's like I said, it's refreshing because now I can just focus on making myself a better receiver, a better football player on and off the field.
And Vyncint, if you could, I mean, what's next for you now? Again, I gotta think you're still training. You're gonna stay in shape. I mean, your schedule's gonna be booked like crazy with team visits and workouts over the next month. What's next for you now that the pro day is behind you?
Like I was talking about, private workouts and team visits, but in between that, definitely want to work with my wide receiver coach, Coach JJ. He's here. He's been working with me since I went to Westwood as a junior. He's seen me grow and he's seen where I need to grow at. So he's definitely been a big asset for me.
All right, and final question is a question. Actually, I ended this with this question in our last conversation a couple months back, Vyncint. But I got to ask it again. Let's say we have all 32 NFL general managers listening to this very interview, and this is something I end all my interviews with. But we might have all 32 NFL teams truly listening to this interview. Why should they want the wide receiver out of Limestone College, Vyncint Smith, a part of their organization?
They should want me a part of part of their organization because I think I'm very optimistic. I don't have any bad background on me. I listen. I definitely am a positive person. I like to push myself to be better. I'm competitive. I think I'm a great person in the locker room. On the field, I think I'm gonna be able to do what they say, whether it's run this route and be open at this spot. I think if I can't do it now, then I will be able to after a couple of practices, a couple of times of doing it. I think my ceiling is very high, and I can't wait. I just can't wait to get on the field and just play. Really, it's just, like I said, I'm gonna be a positive person. I'm gonna be a great investment, so that's why they should take me.
Absolutely. This whole Skype and Facebook Live show, it's still kind of new to me, Vincent, but we could not only hear the excitement in your voice, but we could see it as well in your facial expressions as well. One more thing before I let you go. We've been talking about the great pro day and the great numbers that you put up and the success that you've had at wide receiver. Of course, being looked at as probably a day 3 prospect, maybe an undrafted free agent, Vyncint. The special teams aspect of the game is going to be big for somebody like yourself, I got to think. Has that been a topic with the teams that you've met with, and how would you fare playing special teams? Do you have any past experience playing maybe kickoff and punt returner? Because I got to think that's what they're going to look at you for initially, especially with that speed.
Yes, sir. I've talked to pretty much all teams, and they've mentioned special teams, and that's something I always thought I was going to have to do anyways, at least as a rookie. So yeah, I definitely plan on playing special teams anywhere they want to put me, whether it's punt return, kick return, or gunner, or blocking, wherever they need me. I'm ready to go there and learn the correct techniques to make the right plays.
Absolutely. Well, once again, he's Vyncint Smith, and I just noticed. Let's see, Vyncint, our our spell check had Vincent Smith, wide receiver out of Limestone College. I'm fixing that now, and I read an article earlier. You got the unique spelling of Vyncint from both your mother and father. Your father's name starts with a V, I believe, and then it's your mother's name that starts with a Y, and that's how that came about. So you gotta like that. Sorry about that when you go back and watch this interview, but it is now fixed for the final minute or so of the interview. Vyncint's wide receiver, Limestone College, again, worked out for the Dallas Cowboys yesterday. Had a private meeting with the 49ers as well, and a ton more lined up over the next month as we get ready for the 2018 NFL Draft. Vyncint, thanks again for your time, and best of luck over the next month, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you for taking your time out to talk to me.